Hi guys, it's Vincent van Genechten again. My previous YouTube video on Juve Mercato, the Juventus Mercato this year, it was the most happy Juve fan in the world. I expected like 20 views or something, but people were very positive on it, so I promised to do a couple of more videos on Juventus, on games, on Mercato and so forth. So I'm doing this once again to talk about. We're halfway through the Mercato 2016, which runs until August 31. So we've talked about what Juve have done so far. So let's talk about what they are going to do from now, August 3rd, until August 31. First off, of course, let's start with Paul Pogba. The guys who I know a bit, Marco Messina and his crew from Italian Football TV, they posted a video today where they met Pogba. I'm not sure where. I think maybe in LA or New York. I'm not sure. But they asked. So Marco asked Pogba if he's going to stay at Juventus, and Pogba said yes. And Marco asked again, and Pogba said yes again. So what can we read into this? That Pogba is probably playing both sides because he also signed a jersey from a United fan with his name and number 6 at the back. He now signed a football, Juventus football, with the guys from Italian Football TV, which is a great YouTube channel, so you should subscribe to it. Um, but it really, really, it doesn't. And Marco Messina said it afterwards in the video that it doesn't actually mean anything because Pogba probably just saw two Juve fans, because they actually aren't two Juve fans, but they are Serie A fans. But he probably thought, oh, these are two Juventus fans. Let's say yes, because then and maybe get rid of them. I'm not bashing or dishing Marco and his friend, but it doesn't mean anything. And still, Pogba is going to leave. I said it last week. I've accepted it. I've accepted that their Juventus are going to get like over 100 million euros for him, that we're going to get a replacement, and that Pogba will play at Old Trafford next season. So, but there's an issue in my opinion. That is the timing. There are many people who have asked me this. I've posted it on Twitter a couple of times that the Pogba deal can't drag on until the end of the summer transfer market. Serie A starts on August 20th for Juventus against Fiorentina. They are not a club that is going to make a big deal just at the end of the summer transfer market. They got Hernanes last season, but Hernanes wasn't going to be a starter. That was obvious. So they are not going to sell Pogba somewhere between the 15th of August. Actually, they're not going to sell Pogba starting from next week. If it if it's going to happen, it has to happen now. Many media outlets have said the magical words that it's going to happen in the next 48 hours. Well, they said it 48 hours ago, and it's 48 hours later, and there's still no announcement. There's no deal. It's actually been very quiet on Juve, actually on that regard, on the transfer. There hasn't been any rumors. Some have said it's done. That's just waiting on an official announcement. But once again, that is 48 hours ago. It's 48 hours later. Still no announcement. So if there's a deal, why should wait to announce it? So I think there's still some missing links there, some missing agreements, and I think especially Manchester United have to act quickly, or Juventus are going to say, oh, no, we're not going to sell him anymore, because finding a replacement takes time. Getting an agreement done with the replacement and the club takes time. Working that get guy into the lineup. who's going to be a key player because he's going to be the fourth midfielder with Marquisio out, Khedira, who's still out, is going to be an important player to start the season. So um, it has to happen quickly, or it isn't going to happen this summer, um, I believe. To the replacement, I've already did that in my previous video. There seem to be two major players or two major candidates to replace Pogba, and those are Axel Witsel from Zenit and Blaise Matuidi from PSG. Today I read the report that Matuidi is going to cost Juve 35 million euros. I still think that is too expensive for Juventus. Juventus aren't going to pay that for Matuidi. Is already 29 years old. Once again, I don't like the age bashing, but um, I just don't think they're going to spend that money on a guy like Matuidi, who's a great player in his own right, but he's not superstar material, or he's just a very good player, a hard worker, and I'm not. Maybe this is something of um, a hard conclusion, but I think he's just a better version of Stefano Stovaro, and we're not going to pay 35 million for that. So that's pretty easy. So it leaves Witsel from Zenit, who's got his fans, but he's also got his critics. His coach today, Lucesco, said that he wants to leave. He's not pushing for it, but he wants to leave, and that he actually is a more experienced version of Paul Pogba, which of course isn't also true because um, Pogba is much more creative than Witsel. Witsel is I've said it before, is a very good player. He's a very good box-to-box player. He knows when to run, how to run. He's a decent passer. He doesn't score a lot, but he just doesn't lose the ball. He's very good in possession, and I believe Juve can use that in Serie A, also in the Champions League. A guy that can hold the ball and doesn't lose it. His pace is a bit slow, but it's perfect for Serie A. But he's no Pogba. In miles, he's no Pogba, especially on the creative side of the football. He just isn't that kind of player. But would he be a nice addition for Juve, or a very good replacement for Pogba? For sure, there's no doubt about it. Um, will Juve spend 25 million on him? No. Zenit 125 million. They already seem to have an agreement with Napoli, then with Inter, also with Everton, who wanted to pay 30 million euros for him. So that's an issue for Juventus. But there are rumors or reports stating that Juventus are willing to offer around 15 million um, to Zenit for itself plus Roberto Pereira. So that would be a decent deal in my opinion, because Pereira is he's a decent playmaker, but I don't think he's what Juve needs at this moment. He's not going to play a lot next season, so better to ship him out and to get a player who's going to be valuable for Juventus in Serie A and in the Champions League, where he has experience. So I believe that would be a great deal for Juventus. Um, Talking about other outgoing players, first off, there's Hernanes. Um, I saw a couple of good Juve, like Khaled Alnous, good Juve Twitter accounts tweet that Hernanes isn't going to leave. I fear that might be true, because I think finding a deal for Hernanes has been very tough for Juve. Of course, the big issue here is his salary, because he earns 3 million per year, 3 million euros per year, which is pretty hefty for a player of his stature. He's also getting older, and I'm not sure last season was a very good outing for him. So it could be that Hernan is going to stay. I still hope that Juve can find a deal for him, maybe a loan deal, where they pay some of his wages, because it's best to sell him, but I just don't want to see him at Juve. I think I know he's a good, and he's a good passer, and when you give him space, he can do things, but he's just too slow for the big club like Juve, and he's, he doesn't he doesn't have a big work rate. He's not actually a leader, so he doesn't have other attributes next to being too slow. So that can help him at Juventus. So I believe he has to go. It's that simple. He doesn't have a value for Juve. You have guys like Storaro and Mario Lemina, Quattro Asamoah at this position. So he's unvaluable for Juve, and he has to go. And you have to make it work, in my opinion. So I really hope he goes. Speaking about Asamoah, I was a proponent of selling him this summer, mainly due to the fact that I apparently watched too little about him. I watched a little footage about him. Now I've read something about him. I've talked to people who've watched him on a more regular basis, and Asamoah really is a guy that can help Juventus even this season when he's fit. Of course, he's a very injury-prone player, and that's very sad, of course, because the kid is a man. He's the bionic man. He can really ball, and I think he could, if he stays healthy, it's just an extra incoming player, because he didn't play at all last season. So it would be a nice new player, of course, for Juventus next season to count on when other midfielders need rest. Then Zaza. Um, it's a bit difficult to talk about Simone Zaza because I actually like the guy. I think he's cool. He's a good forward, a good striker actually. He's an amazing fourth option to have up front, which he showed last season in his first campaign with Juve. But on the other hand, I think he's too limited to play at Juve. He will he will at one point be tired of sitting on the bench for most of the time. So I think he's in the end becoming an issue for Juve. Um, I know he wants to stay in Serie A, but AS Roma don't have the money, or don't want to spend 25 to 30 million on him. AC Milan don't have the money if they don't sell Bacca. Um, so the only option which has been reported this week is Wolfsburg, who have offered 25 million plus bonuses for him. I would go for that, but not if it's luring in Luis Gustavo, because I think Luis Gustavo would, again, he has his upside with his experience. He's a hard worker. He knows he played at Bayern. I know he knows how to play for a top club. He knows what it is to play for a top club, but I just don't think Luis Gustavo is the one Juve need at this moment to go and win the Champions League. So if it's selling for Zaza to get Luis Gustavo, that just keeps Zaza as a fifth option up front next to Dybala, Higuain, Mandzukic, and Marco Piazza. It's not Piacca, but it's Piazza. Um, unless, of course, coming to my latest player is Gabigol, Gabriel Barbosa. Um, I really like Gabigol. I think he's somewhat. Some Brazilian Twitter accounts say Gabriel Jesus, who left for Manchester City today is has got a higher ceiling. He's a new Neymar. He's very good. He's a very good dribbler. He finishes well. He has vision. He could become a superstar, but I believe Gabigol could become a superstar as well. I see a lot of Luis Suarez in him. He's a very compact player. He's not big. He's pretty small actually for a striker, but you see he's got the speed, he's got the footwork, the timing, the dribbling skills, and also the strength and the desire to score goals. You can see it when you watch his highlights, how he scores his goals. He's just wants to get that goal, and he's very happy when scoring it. Um, so I believe Juventus, who offered 20 million to Santos and a 2.5 million per year contract to Gabigol, and 2 million for his right, because yeah, Brazilian players are very hard to get, because Santos have 40% of his rights, Gabigol and his family have 40%, and we got Doyen, who got also 40, who got the remaining 20% of Gabigol's rights, meaning you have to pay three parties to get a transfer done. Um, Santos accepted the 20 million. Gabigol wasn't happy with. He was happy with the contract, but he wasn't, or his family, his father, wasn't really happy with the 2 million. And Doyen is something special. So, they weren't happy also with meaning a 22 million deal. Was pretty, or it actually was a 20 million deal. It was 80 million to Santos, 2 million to Gabigol. It wasn't enough. Now Barcelona have the right of first refusal, so they can match any offer by any club for Gabigol if they want. But of course, the biggest rival for Juve now is Inter, who have reportedly offered 25 million to get, which would be 18 million, I believe, to Santos also, 6 million to Gabigol's family, which of course would be triple the amount they would get from Juve, and a contract of 3.5 million per year, um, which is pretty much, pretty much for a player. I believe players like Chiellini um, earn that at um, at Juventus. So it's for a 19-year-old kid who got the potential to be a superstar. I'm not going to say it's going to be Luis Suarez, because we can't just put the expectations on him, but it's still a lot. 3.5 million per year for a 19-year-old player who could just ride the bench all season long, who would probably do that at Juventus. He got more chances to start at Inter. I'm not sure if he wants to go to Inter, but if the financial side of the deal is much better at Inter than at Juventus, then he should. Then I'm expecting him to join Inter, which would make me very sad, because I believe Gabigol has the potential to be a star. Um, if Higuain is done, if Mandzukic leaves next season, you've got Piazza, Dybala. Piazza 21, Dybala is not sure, 23, 22 or 23, and you got Gabigol 19, then 20 maybe coming in. If that's your front line, I mean, Juve will be set for the next 10 years um, offensively. So I would be very sad if Gabigol doesn't come to Juve, especially very sad if he joins Inter, of course, which is our biggest rival. But in the end, I would get it. I would get it why I would pick Inter's offer over that of Juventus, and that would only be, in my opinion, Juve's own fault, because I mean, what's the 3 million extra for a future superstar? So there's that. Second video done. I hope you liked it again. One can follow me at vvgenichten on Twitter. Tweet me with questions, remarks on my videos, and Forza Juve!